Okay. Um, I'm back making my next point. We left off, we were talking about the good things that I think are good gun laws. Now we're going to talk about the bad things I think are gun laws, okay? One proposed gun law, and I hear this a lot, is we should have a total gun ban. All guns entirely banned, no questions asked, period. Okay? First and foremost, those people forget that we have a constitution that we live by. And we're going to talk about a country that has already tried this law and has failed them. The United Kingdom, Britain, England, whatever you call it, England, decided to have more gun laws and more gun laws and more gun laws. And I imagine at first the gun laws were like the gun laws here that are kind of reasonable, convict felon, blah, blah, blah. But they eventually went on to the extreme. No, more gun laws, more gun laws, more gun laws. And then they eventually said, no more guns. Period. Now, we have in America called the grandfather clause, which means if you outlaw a 500 Magnum revolver tomorrow, if I buy it today, I can keep it. There is no such thing as grandfather clause in England. And the British government literally stopped selling all guns to the citizenry. And the British government, in addition to that, told every single person to bring their gun in for destruction. There were British citizens or subjects, whatever they call themselves, that had rifles that were owned by muskets and rifles that were owned by their great-great-great-grandfathers in the French and Indian War. They had jeweled guns that were display models that were museum quality, embedded in bedazzled with jewels, all gone, all squashed to a scrap heap. The reason for this was because they wanted to have a safer society. Here's how their safer society played out. Gun crimes in England are at the highest they've ever been since the gun was invented. England has an English person is 4 times more likely to be stabbed than shot in spite of the increasing gun crimes. We had a thing here called prohibition where we outlawed alcohol until we constitutionally protected alcohol years later. Now, have you ever seen a gangster movie? Well, when this country outlawed alcohol, the mafia rose to power. I took a class on organized crime. The mafia rose to power. Before Prohibition, the mafia was a bunch of hoodlums that stood on the corner and robbed the guy and took his watch. After the Prohibition was founded, the mafia became an organization. Every single race you can think of had a mafia. Everybody. And they bought, sold, made liquor across state lines. 3 generations later, the drug kingpins copied their smuggling methods, their selling methods, their hiding methods, and obviously guns too. Okay? England thought that they were going to outlaw all guns and all crime would stop overnight. They gambled with the lives of their people and they failed. Because the British illegal guns market is the most profitable business in Europe. There are police officers in England testifying to the news that they are pulling hundreds, if not thousands, of guns off the street a month. Sort of shotguns, fully automatic machine guns, and you can name it. Now, how do I know that I'm not? How do you know I'm not mistaken? Well, I am in the Disney Vacation Club. Yes, Disney. And I go to Disney World usually once a year, give or take. You might miss a year there. Now, in Disney World, yes, I'm leaving. This is going somewhere. In Disney World, the resort I stay at is called the Boardwalk. It's within walking distance of Disney's Hollywood Studios and Disney's Epcot Center. Epcot Center is divided into 2 halves. Future World has all that space age stuff. World Showcase has miniature countries. There's a lake, and around the lake are miniature versions of a country. China, Japan, America, England, Germany, Italy, etc. Morocco. Now, the people that work there are from that country. So if you're in China, they aren't Chinese Americans, they are actual Chinese people from China. And they have the world's greatest fireworks display almost every night. I see it 3 times when I'm down there. And I was down there last year. I think I had my NRA cap on. I know I had it with me. I know I had it down there, but I think I had it on. And I'm waiting to see the fireworks display, and there's a custodian coming around. I'm in the English section, so this custodian is from England. And I pulled him aside. He had a couple minutes to talk to me. And I said, "Is it as bad as they say it is?" He said it's worse. And he knew exactly what I was talking about. Because anti-gun people say England is the safest country in the world. The NRA says it's not. I have to find a happy medium to talk to. And I found my happy medium. This guy from England. And he said it's worse. Interestingly enough, they didn't take guns away from the military, the police, or their own bodyguards, and I guarantee you the royal family can still own guns. They only took guns away from the common subjects. Why? If getting rid of guns would make the country safer, shouldn't your bodyguard give up his gun too? They didn't. And the British people marched, I think it was either Parliament or Buckingham Palace, they marched, they wanted their guns back, they demanded their guns back. It was the largest march in UK history. They wanted their guns back yesterday. They weren't going to take no for an answer. I told the guy, elect any politician that says guns are good for the people to own. Vote out every single politician that is against guns, period, across the board. You don't want to use violence because you don't want to prove the anti-gun politicians right. You want to be non-violent. And I say, you get your guns back. Petition, vote, march, parade, get them back. Okay, the DC and Chicago bans. I'm paranoid, I gotta check my time. Okay. I have time for this. The DC and Chicago bans. In Washington, D.C., I'm going to put the years up. I forget the years. I think it was 1978. I know it ended in 2008. You could not own a handgun in Washington, D.C. unless you were a cop. Your gun then was your duty gun, but you could not own a personal gun. So cops had their duty guns. Citizens had no gun. Had no handguns. I'm sorry, handguns. Now, you could own a long gun, which is a rifle or shotgun, but it had to be field stripped, unloaded, and trigger locked at all times. Or it was disabled. I don't know if it was field stripped, unloaded, and trigger locked, or locked in a safe, but it had to be disabled. Now, the citizens of DC complained to the Supreme Court that that was wrong. And I have a law book from a class I took last year, and I read a segment of Justice Scalia's opinion on that case that was published in the law book. Justice Scalia said, and I do have the law book still, and I will show it to you if you want me to. I just have to look for it. I forgot to look for it. Justice Scalia said, and 4 of the justices concurred with him, that there is gun crime in America, but the gun crime and the law-abiding citizen owning a gun for reasonable self-defense are 2 different issues. Justice Scalia also said, well, as a criminal can use a handgun to commit a crime, it could also be used by a law-abiding citizen. And he had a whole bunch of reasons. A handgun can be used and held in one hand with a hand douse the police. The handgun can be wielded by someone with poor upper body strength. The handgun is harder to wrestle away than the long gun. I added a few things of my own. You can hold a handgun in one hand, a flashlight in the other hand. You can hold a handgun in one hand and open a door with the other. You can hold a handgun in one hand, and if you have to, the suspect gets real close, physically shove him away or hold him against the wall if you have to, if that comes to it. The handgun can be used in close quarters. I have a big room here, but if I go to the other side of the apartment, I won't be able to use the long gun. On top of that, Rifle ammunition is expensive. Handgun ammunition is a little cheaper. On top of that, my area, I have to go 45 minutes north in order to shoot a rifle or a shotgun. The handgun, I can practice 10 minutes away at my local range. And having the weapons fully disabled at all times is not good for the public, because this law is intended to stop crime. The law works when the criminal obeys it. If a criminal in Washington, D.C. broke into someone's home, put down their gun case, opened up their gun case, and spent 5 minutes putting the gun together, then the law works. No. The citizen had to have their gun disabled at all times. That meant when the criminal broke in with their weapon already ready, it could have been a handgun, it could have been a rifle, it could have been a shotgun, it could have been a broken bottle, the citizen would have never been able to get to it in time. Okay? Your brain turns off, your hands freeze up, you go completely deaf, you get blurry vision. It is scientifically impossible for any living person to fully assemble a weapon under pressure in 30 seconds. It is a scientific impossibility. You can do it in a relaxed setting, but not under pressure. I'm not even gonna lie. I keep this at my nightstand 1.5 arms length away. It's kept in a condition called Condition 1. This is the military's handgun from 1911 to 1985. Since then, the military has used it as a specialist weapon for the Green Berets, Delta Force, and Marine Corps Force Recon. When I have this weapon, I have the fully loaded magazine in the gun. I have one round loaded directly into the chamber. The gun is in what we call battery, and the safety is on. It is scientifically proven to be the safest method to handle this gun. And that is how I have my gun prepared at night. And if necessary, I will defend myself if I have to. I hope it doesn't come to that, but I can. Now, if I had children in the house, I'd be a little more careful. I don't have it locked because I have no children in the house. If I have children in the house, and I tell my viewers this all the time, get a fingerprint safe. Get a safe about yay high, put the gun in it, close the safe. Fingerprint opens the safe. That means the child can have the gun in the safe. The child has to physically take your hand and put your hand on the safe in order for it to open. Let me check my time. Okay. 12:35. I have a couple minutes left. Alright. It is scientifically impossible for the kid to open the fingerprint safe. Put the gun in the fingerprint safe. That way, take your finger, put your finger on the gun case. The case opens up, the gun comes out, the ammunition comes out. You cannot fuddle around with the combination under pressure because you can't see it. You cannot look for keys because you're under pressure. So, take all the guns except one, put them in a combination safe. Take the home defense gun, i.e. this one, put it in the fingerprint safe. Problem solved. Best of both worlds. Gun is away from the child, but I can access it if I have to. I have to stop now because my time is running short.